Tariffs, tariffs are bad first and foremost because they're just a tax. They just add to the cost of things. Tariffs a company that has to pay a tariff on an input, that simply raises the cost of whatever it is that they're producing. And in most cases, they're able to pass that cost through to the consumer. In some cases, they have to bear that cost themselves, or they split it in effect with the consumer. But the bottom line is that the cost of doing business increases and the profitability of the business decreases. And so the benefit to the consumer of whatever it is that business is doing is reduced by that tax increase. So when you raise tariffs on a trading partner, so first of all, what you're doing is raising prices for your own citizens, but you do raise the cost of those goods, and so those goods tend to get pushed out of the market, and so the trading partner finds that their goods are not selling as much in the United States as they were before, and so trading partners will tend to retaliate, and they'll retaliate in a very targeted way. They're very good at this, and our society and our economy is quite transparent. So it's not difficult, for example, to identify the key members of the president's cabinet or the president himself or the key members of the legislature, the Congress, who are on the committees of jurisdiction over trade. It's very easy to identify who those people are. It's very easy to identify what industries are located in their districts, and it's very easy to target those industries, and that's exactly what we're seeing happening. Why is the EU suddenly taxing bourbon? That's because it's produced in Kentucky, and everybody knows that that's where Mitch McConnell's from. Why are the Europeans targeting Harley-Davidson motorcycles? It's partly because they wish they could make Harley-Davidson motorcycles themselves, but it's mostly because they know that's Paul Ryan's home. They're manufactured in Paul Ryan's home state, and that's a way to get a message directly to Paul Ryan about their concerns about this tit for tat on tariffs that we're in. So that's always going to happen. And the difficulty is that there comes a point where those things are difficult to back away from, especially in an environment where leaders are speaking personally about one another. It becomes politically difficult to back down from something like that. And so there's a tendency to retaliate against the retaliation, and then that retaliation elicits more retaliation, and before you know it, you're generally raising taxes on trade. You're raising taxes on foreign goods. Economics tells us that when you raise the cost of something, you're going to have less of it, and so by raising the cost of trade, we're going to have less trade. Trade has grown much faster than our economy over the last 20 years. So that means that trade is actually a source of growth for us. Engaging in international trade is a source of growth for the American economy. And by taxing trade, reducing the amount of trade, we're actually reducing our own ability to grow.